Go for it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Andrea. This is my persuasive speech. The way that I chose the topic for my persuasive speech is by the comments that I got from my informative speech. So a couple of weeks ago, I was telling you about how easy it was to compost, and the comments were, okay, well that's all fine and great, but why should I compost in the first place? So what I'm going to discuss today is the problem which is solved by composting. 70% of all food that's thrown away goes right into the landfill. Why is this a problem? Well, I'll tell you why that's a problem. I'm going to read from my composter's cookbook here, direct quote, because they do such a great job of explaining it. A landfill is a closed environment where decomposition happens slowly, if at all. This is what is referred to as an anaerobic condition, where there's no air or oxygen. When organic material that is or once was alive, is buried in an anaerobic environment, very unpleasant things begin to happen. Microbes that live without air begin to decompose the organic compound very slowly, giving off some nasty byproducts. These byproducts include an acidic liquid and gases such as methane. Other gases are also released that are very smelly. The acidic liquid moves through the landfill and it mixes with other things that have been discarded, such as detergents, solvents, and household batteries. This mixture becomes a toxic soup that must be pumped out and treated at a great expense. The gases must also be collected, especially methane, which is explosive. If we keep organic materials like grass clippings, leaves, brush, and food scraps out of a landfill, we can eliminate some of these problems. Not to mention the amount of landfill space that is saved, the amount of land space that's saved, or the amount of fuel saved because we're not transporting as much material. So that, in a nutshell, is why organic matter should not be in a landfill. I also have a picture here. For those of you that are watching, I will upload it. The material that goes into the landfill gives off methane, a strong gas, produced from food and garden waste. And then here you can see as it's pushed down, because we just try and compact it, we put more and more garbage in these landfills, and we push it down, you're pushing the air out, which makes it a worse condition, and then it pushes these, what do they call it, toxic soup down into potentially your water table. So this is what happens to waste, organic waste, when you put it in the landfill. How much? The Wisconsin DNR says that about 500,000 tons of organic waste go into the landfill each year, just in the state of Wisconsin. But rest assured, there's about 200,000 tons that are processed in state licensed facilities for organic matter. So 500,000 tons goes into landfills. Let's recap the monetary cost from what we learned from the composter's cookbook. We pay to pump out the toxic soup, we pay to collect toxic gas, and then most of all, we pay to ship our organic matter to then pay to get rid of it again. So we're paying 2 times, once for it to be picked up and once to be disposed of a second time. Now, who's paying for that? Well, we're paying for that as members of the community through your tax dollars, which is not an ideal situation. So there's a monetary cost, and there's also a cost to the environment. So the solution obviously is composting, at-home composting. So actively and intentionally omitting organic materials from your curbside garbage will keep that 50,000 tons, ideally, out of the landfills. So there's other benefits that also come from this, and it's creating useful resources for yourself. So let's talk about some of those useful resources. We take our refuse and you compost it, and you can make yourself some useful resources. So we have a compost barrel here, and we also have what you can see here, some compost bins. And this is what you can create. So you can create yourself some nice soil that you can use either to mix with a sandy area that'll give you some more hold. You can mix it with some clay areas to get you a little better drainage. You can also use it to prevent damaging effects of erosion by adding this compost in. Another thing that we buy is mulch for around our yard. You can compost it not all the way down into a soil, and you can make yourself some nice, beautiful mulch for free. You can also use it as a potting mix or in your gardens for some extra nutrients. So what you're looking at is you're able to take this waste and save the environment, save some tax dollars, and you're going to save yourself some money by not having to buy artificial or chemically based fertilizers and accents for your yard. Another thing that compost can do is get you around some burning regulations. There's heavy regulations about burning in areas of Wisconsin. However, there's no regulations on composting in small amounts of composting or in residential areas. So you can save yourself, can save the atmosphere. You can save yourself the risk of getting fines for burning as well. The last thing that I'd like to touch on is I think that composting promotes a healthier lifestyle. First, you're going to think about things going out, and then you're going to think about things that are coming in. So you think about what you're going to put into the garbage. Can I put this in my compost pile versus putting it out in the garbage? The next thing that you're going to think about is things that are coming into your house. You might think twice about what you're buying, what brand you're buying. There's options for the produce that you buy and the way that you prepare things. Even Ziploc bags, you can find stuff that are compostable. So you can rethink what you're bringing in and rethink what you're putting out. Something else that promotes a healthy lifestyle is it gets you outdoors and it gets you moving. It gets you active out in your own yard, in your own space. And I like to think of composting as the silent vow to yourself that you are going to do what you're personally able to save the planet. So I'd like to close with another quote from the Composting Cookbook. It says, "You can't fail at composting because everything eventually decomposes. So relax and enjoy the experience."